Hey everyone, today I am coming at you from my kitchen in New York City. Now, if you follow the channel at all, you know that we have a cottage up in Connecticut. And back in November, we closed the cottage for the winter. It is not insulated, it's a seasonal cottage. So we've been living here in New York City. And of course, it's crowded here in New York City. So I ended up getting COVID. So for the past few weeks, I've been dealing with sneezing and runny nose for a while there, kind of like dizziness almost. But now I think I'm pretty much getting over that. So today I want to get back into making videos. I want to show you how to make my favorite Sunday dinner. I make this just about every Sunday during the winter. I feel like having the nice hot oven going warms the whole house up. So today we're going to make a whole roast chicken right here in New York City. Stick around. Alright, so we've got this whole chicken here. It comes in a bag. Now, if I was to cut this chicken up into pieces and put it into the oven, same temperature, then it would be called baked chicken. So when you're cooking it in parts, it's called baked chicken, and when you're cooking it as a whole, same temperature and everything, then it's called roast chicken. Now the first thing we're going to do is get this chicken out of the bag, and we're going to do that over here in the sink. The simplest way to remove the chicken from the bag is to use some kitchen scissors, or you could use a knife, but I think scissors makes it a little bit easier. And you don't even need to rinse the chicken off, because if you do that, you could splash bacteria all over your kitchen. Remove any giblets that might be inside the chicken, and place the bird into your roasting pan. I prefer using this 12-inch cast iron pan, but use whatever kind of roasting pan that you have. And then we're going to pat it dry with a paper towel. This is going to help the skin get nice and crispy. And here are the seasonings we're going to use. We've got some poultry seasoning, herbs de Provence, some good Himalayan pink salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. We're going to start getting the bird ready by adding some olive oil. And we'll get our hands right in there and rub that oil all over the bird. Next thing we're going to do is add some of that good salt, some fresh ground black pepper, herbs de Provence, which is my favorite dried herb mix. Of course, if you don't want to use dried herbs, you could use fresh herbs. Anything like rosemary, thyme would be great. We're going to add a little bit more salt on the bottom side, a little bit more fresh ground black pepper. And now for our poultry seasoning. And we're just going to sprinkle this all over wherever we see some bare skin. We're going to throw that poultry seasoning on there. This is really going to make that skin crisp up and taste delicious. The next thing we're going to do is cut up a lemon and place those lemon wedges inside the cavity of the chicken. And then we're going to tie the legs of the chicken together with some kitchen twine. And then cut off any slack with your scissors. And then we'll just hit the bird one last time with just a little bit more poultry seasoning for good measure. And just like that, we're ready for the oven. And here we have our oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to cook the chicken for 45 minutes, and then I'm going to show you what we do for the rest of the cook.
I believe in a perfect America, for instance, that everyone should be essentially forced to learn to cook a few basic tasks, the ability to, for instance, make an omelet, roast a chicken properly, just a few basic tasks. And if they can't do that by 13 or 14, they should be basically shamed and marginalized.
Anthony Bourdain was one of a kind, and he's right. I think he's absolutely correct. Everyone should know how to roast a whole chicken. And so the next step to this recipe is to cut up some vegetables, and we're going to start with some onion, and we'll give that a rough chop. Not too small, not too big, just kind of like diced medium size. And we're going to do the same thing with a couple of carrots. I usually just pop the top off, pop the bottom off, cut the carrot in half, and then lay those two halves on their flat sides so that they don't roll around. And then just give those a rough chop as well. Next thing we're going to add is a stalk of celery. Same thing, I pop off the bottom, pop off the top, discard those, and then I kind of run my knife down the stalk and just give that a quick rough chop as well. The next thing I'm going to add is a few cloves of garlic. So I'm just going to take this head of garlic and separate a few cloves, give them a nice peel, and voila, 4 cloves of garlic. And those are going to go straight in. I'm not going to cut those up at all. And here I've got a medium-sized sweet potato. Again, I like to chop off the top, chop off the bottom. And then, you have to be a little careful because sweet potatoes are very hard. And you have to use a little bit of strength. You don't want to cut yourself by accident here because these are definitely hard to get through. But I just cut them up into strips kind of, and then just give these a rough chop. Nothing has to be exact. Nothing is being measured exactly. Use, whatever vegetables you like. If you don't like sweet potatoes, you don't have to use them. If you don't like carrots, you don't have to use carrots. It's up to you. But here's our vegetable mix. And to that, we're going to add some olive oil, some salt, some fresh ground black pepper, and of course, some herbs de Provence. And then we're going to get our hand right in there, like I like to do, and mix that all around. Alright, so our chicken now has been in the oven for 45 minutes, and we're going to take it out. And the first thing we're going to do is take a spoon and baste the chicken with some of that juice that's collecting in our pan. And I'll tell you what, we're only halfway done with this recipe, and my apartment already smells incredible. It just smells great around here. Next thing we're going to do is take the chicken out of the pan. And then we're going to take our vegetables and we're going to add them into the pan. And we're going to mix those around in that chicken juice so they can soak up that juice and get extra delicious as they cook. Then what we're going to do is take our chicken and place it on top of this bed of vegetables to finish cooking. And we're going to put this back in the oven, 375 degrees, for another 45 minutes, or until the chicken in its thickest part is between 165 and 170 degrees Fahrenheit. So into the oven it goes. And just like that, 45 minutes later, our chicken is done. And just to make sure, we're going to check with a thermometer right in between the thigh and the breast and the thickest part of the chicken here. And it should read 165 to 170 degrees. Next thing we're going to do is take the bird off of the bed of vegetables. Look at all that juice coming out of there. It's going to be one juicy chicken. Then we're going to take a slotted spoon and remove all of these vegetables and place them into a bowl. They are ready to serve. And then with all that juice that's collected in the pan, we're going to pour that into a gravy boat. And then what I like to do is transfer the chicken back into the cast iron pan, and we're going to carve it right in the pan. First, we're going to remove the string that's tying the legs together with a pair of scissors. And then we're going to take our knife. I'll see if I can do this toward the camera here so it's easy to see, even though it's a little bit difficult to carve this direction for me. We're going to cut right in between the joint, between the thigh and the breast. And there we have a leg, which consists of a drumstick and a thigh. And now we'll carve off some of the breast meat. And you start with your knife right along the edge of the backbone. And just kind of peel that breast back with your fork. And you can get the wing with that as well. And here we are serving up some of that beautiful breast meat, the white meat of the chicken, with the crispy skin on it. And just look at how delicious that looks. Piping hot. Smells so good. I don't know about you, but I am ready to get some of this into my belly. But before we get to eat, the last thing I want to do is take this juice here that came out of the pan, and see all that fat that's on top? I want to get rid of some of that fat. So I'm just going to take my spoon and just skim that fat right off the top. And you see how it's sort of brown underneath the fat? I want to keep that in there as much as possible, just lowering the fat so that there's less fat to flavor ratio in there. And then we're going to mix that juice up and spoon it right over our breast meat, especially because the breast meat can have a tendency to dry out a little bit, but now it's going to be just absolutely perfect. And it's officially time to eat. Here's my roast chicken, my favorite Sunday meal. Nothing beats roast chicken, especially in the wintertime. It just warms the whole house up. It smells so good in here, those vegetables, the chicken. And man, it's just a perfect, hearty comfort food. I just love it. I'm gonna give this a little taste. Try some of that skin first. Crispy. Delicious. Try the white meat. It's got some of that juice on there. Lovely. Absolutely perfect. These vegetables are nice and soft. The sweet potato. They just get so nice and soft. Look at that garlic. Nice and soft. Cooking in that chicken juice. I love this. The celery, carrot, onion. So good. And of course, you know, I love the dark meat as well. So some of that chicken thigh. Just a perfect meal in the winter on a Sunday. You can't beat a roast chicken. If you like roast chicken, please leave a like to this video. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your tweaks on how you make a roast chicken. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And of course, keep on cooking. Keep on roasting. See you next time.